Hey guys, Coach Cindy here from All Out Training, and today I'm going to read and talk a little bit about one of my online clients. It'll soon be a blog post, so you can check it out there when it's ready. But this one I entitled, Are You Headed for an Energy Crisis? Because learning to manage your energy, it's about learning to manage your energy and not your time. And this was an experience for one of my online coaching clients. And it was a really hard lesson to learn for, he's an executive client, as I'll describe, and he wanted to make a change, and so he reached out about one of my online coaching programs. And basically what the conversation, or what I'm going to teach you about, is that we often use the excuse or the facade that we're leading such a really busy life, and that busyness is what holds us back from achieving the our best life and our best body, basically. And really what I want to demonstrate to you is that really it's about managing your energy, and that your energy is being divided by too many different plates that you're trying to juggle, or too many different hats, or whatever you want to call it. And it's better to manage that energy, to simplify it, basically, which I'll show you, and through his journey, and versus trying to manage your time better. And working over the course of a year with an online coaching client, you really get to discover a lot about a person and their mental blocks, basically, the things that are getting in the way of them creating some sort of momentum to design their lives in a way that they want to, and in the body that they want to live in, so to feel their best selves. And this was certainly the case for this one male online training client. So when we first had our first discovery call, he was quick to list a lot of his obstacles. So his obstacles included traveling a lot for work, working 12 to 14-hour days, usually away from home for weeks at a time. He talked a lot about being perpetually exhausted and not having enough energy to have quality family time, and not being able to schedule social time with his buddies. And I got the sense really quickly that he was riddled with guilt and a lot of dissatisfaction. And I continued to ask questions and discovered he slept poorly, he didn't exercise when he traveled at all, had a hard time making healthy choices when he was traveling, and was constantly moving from a board room lunch meetings to dinner meetings to meet and greets, and he was really about chasing the gold star from his boss and moving up the corporate ladder, but it was taking a toll on him physically, mentally, and emotionally. And like most, he was living at such a furious pace that he rarely stopped to ask himself what he stood for and what he wanted to be. And consequently, he let external demands dictate his actions, and he didn't want to feel or be this way anymore, which is the case for a lot of people, right? We're just letting the things that come up dictate what we do next and how we feel. It took time, but by working with him through my online coaching programs, he could start to work on his energy depleting behaviors and start taking ownership of his life, and ultimately create different outcomes on his physical, emotional, and mental level without sacrificing the gold star that he was after from his career. And over time, he worked on his minimum dose, which I like to really emphasize, is the minimum dose. What's the minimum amount of exercise he could do when he was traveling versus doing nothing? How to make different, healthier options when he was eating on the road, or in the board meeting, or when eating out with coworkers. We were able to look at his sleep quality and able to learn how to dial things up when his schedule allowed, and how to dial it down. Essentially, we worked on his all or nothing thinking, and simple habits to put in place that didn't occupy more mental energy, more emotional strength, or didn't drain his body of his already depleted energy. And along the way, he lost 45 pounds, feels more balanced, and he describes it as being in the moment with his wife and his kids. And to boot, his coworkers have reported that he seems happier and are wanting to know what his secret is. Now, this didn't happen all overnight. No, it didn't. It was a process, and a slow process, as he didn't get, we couldn't add more to his plate and make him feel overwhelmed. But we did this by focusing on his physical energy first, and getting the best nutrition that worked for him in an uncomplicated way. Then we built in short exercise breaks, getting good quality sleep, and then we managed his emotions and refocused his attention. We changed his eating from 2 big meals to smaller meals. We included some more snacks to sustain his energy. He no longer went from project to meeting to commute without eating, and then finding himself hangry at the end of the night. And since he was getting better sleep, he had more energy to get up before the kids in the morning and bang out a 30-minute efficient workout when he was at home. And we set him up with a hotel workout for when he was on the road. And when that didn't happen, he was really good about getting out on his lunch breaks to walk. Now that was a hurdle at first because it was about chasing the gold star and doing more work, and going for that walk at lunch was taking him away from his work. But what he found once he started practicing it was that he was actually happier for the last half of the day, and he was actually a little bit more productive as well. When it came to emotional energy, we worked on ways to identify how he was feeling and what he was doing. Usually the demands of work made him skip meals and gorge later, and left him not being able to say no to that fourth glass of wine at dinner, and not being able to find a healthy balance with the dessert tray at the end of the meetings. So we worked through triggered events and the emotions attached to them, and again we revisited that all or nothing thinking. You see, this default pattern when confronted with relentless demands and unexpected challenges was letting him go into the fight or flight mode basically multiple times in a day, and it made him really irritable and impatient, anxious and insecure. And this was really what was draining his energy. The fight or flight emotion made it impossible for him to think outside of extreme diet approaches that weren't sustainable when his schedule was already so busy, and the competing demands of chasing that gold star at work and then having family demands when he was at home. But the biggest hurdle we needed to work through together was to change his story about his body and his weight and what others had told him about dieting and weight loss. We needed to overcome that time wasn't a barrier and busyness was an excuse, that it was more about simplifying his energy. When we first met, he was very much feeling like a victim to his weight. He really just told me clearly, point blank, this was a last resort, and repeatedly listed his busy lifestyle, traveling, and his goal to move up the corporate ladder to a higher position as obstacles, and that would never change, and therefore he was doubtful that this would either. But he's 45 pounds lighter. Together we made the shift to consciously allocating time and energy in a more balanced approach towards his, so we did it in his health goals, career goals, and then family needs. He began living his core values through his daily practices, and together we found his sweet spot, that feeling that feels effective but effortless all at the same time. It's inspired and it leaves you more fulfilled with your life choices. He now makes decisions based on 4 pillars: family, faith, health, and work. He says it makes it easier for him to say no to things and not feel guilty about it. And he says it makes it easier for him to say yes when it's something that aligns with the 4 pillars and adds to that bucket. So I'm sharing this story because we get caught up in our own busyness story, and what it's really about is managing your energies and simplifying that. That we have a hard time saying no to things and say yes to way too many things that take away from our value bucket or those pillars like he describes it. And I'm sharing this because for most, online training is a new concept, and most still believe that weight loss is about living your best life in your best body is just about what you eat and exercising more. And although those two things are really important and we could benefit from eating healthier and moving our bodies more, it isn't the full story, that there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of moving parts in your own life, and we need to consider some of that mental, emotional space. And sometimes having that online coach, we can offer a different perspective on how to mesh all those things together to get you in the best body, in the best life possible. And at least it works for him, and it worked for the countless others that I've trained online. So if you're interested, head out to allouttraining.ca. I have 3 online programs, but this program is the Pro Coach client program. It's the one that I get to work exclusively one-on-one with clients for a full year. That's 365 days out of the year. I'm basically your coach in your back pocket, working through nutrition and exercise and all those mental blocks that come up to help you reach your sustainable results that you want, that goal that you've been putting off, and help you manage your energies just like he did. So I hope this resonates with you, and if it does, hit me back. Thanks.